Right, lads, well, we're in position.
Copy, John. What do you got?
Got AQ loading cargo into a barge.
That's your target. Get aboard and find out who they're working with.
Rog. Sentries on the perimeter.
Yeah, AQ guards all over the docks.
You'll need to take them out to get to the barge. You two get to work. Out.
All right, let's split up. I'll say the outside. You clean up the docks. Stay quiet. I'll meet you at the barge.
Check. On you, Cab.
Welcome everybody, Josh here, back at it today with a brand new product review. So today we're going to be talking about this, which is Modern Warfare 2 on the PlayStation 5. Now, as you guys know, I've been kind of moving towards more video game and movie related content on the platform. I really do like playing video games such as the Call of Duty franchise. I've been playing the Call of Duty franchise pretty much ever since I was a young kid, playing Call of Duty 3 to Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, the original, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the original, and then so on and so forth. And every year in the franchise, I think that the franchise has only gotten better up until the reboot franchise, which is the Modern Warfare franchise. And I really do like Modern Warfare 2019. I think it's a fantastic game. I think that they really did elevate the things that I was having issues with before in terms of the graphics and the storytelling abilities that I know that the Call of Duty franchise is capable of. But I think that in recent memory, we have started to see a decline in the Call of Duty franchise. And I think that Modern Warfare 2, while it is a fun game, there's still some issues with it that I think need to be resolved so that I can go back to kind of playing the multiplayer function of this game. And the reason why I don't really like the multiplayer anymore of Call of Duty, especially Modern Warfare 2, is twofold. It's because of the microtransactions in the game, as well as skill-based matchmaking. I think skill-based matchmaking is a really big problem in the Call of Duty franchise, including the Modern Warfare reboot franchise. And there's nothing worse than kind of coming home from work or whatever you're kind of doing in the day and wanting to play a few matches in Call of Duty, and then having to deal with a bunch of sweaty cheaters who are either camping or trying to rank up their characters in the game and unlock new camos and skins. And while I understand why doing the skill tree is necessary, what they do in the Modern Warfare franchise, I don't have any gameplay of it because I have seen a bunch of people play the game in their own YouTube videos, but I typically play the single player, and that is mostly because of the fact that I like a single player campaign to it. I like the story to the Modern Warfare franchise. I like the idea of the good guys versus the bad, and sometimes it kind of blurs the line, especially within these games, good versus evil, especially within the Modern Warfare franchise. But I think that with the skill-based matchmaking and the microtransaction fact that it's become one of those issues where, while I like the franchise as a whole, while I like playing Modern Warfare as well as the Call of Duty series itself, and I've been collecting these games ever since I was a kid, I noticed that it's about stealing money from the consumers, which is basically me. They want to nickel and dime everything in this game, so that way you don't really unlock everything in terms of the multiplayer campaign, kind of like you used to with this franchise. Now, I really like in the old days, especially with World at War and Call of Duty 4, you could actually go into the multiplayer and do prestige mode, which basically you would have to reset your stats on the multiplayer setting and kind of work your way back up. It kind of gave you an incentive to go for those extra camos and gun skins and everything else that's within the campaign of this game, as well as the multiplayer side. And lately I've noticed that with Black Ops 4, the reason why I didn't really play that game was because there was no campaign. I think video games is an art form, especially storytelling in general, and just like every single player campaign, you have to have hero journey moments, especially to give people like myself characters that you care about, especially things like Ghost. Alejandro, the new character they kind of added into the mix with Task Force 141. You got obviously Captain Price, who's like one of the main heroes of the franchise and kind of the most recognizable Call of Duty character of the entire franchise as a whole. I really do like the fact they kind of bring back old characters, update a little bit. But the campaign for this game is really great. You got this person named Graves who's going AWOL in terms of Task Force 141. They're trying to work together with the American squad, and things go awry, and then Graves betrays them towards the middle of the game. Spoiler alert if you've actually played the games, but I think by now anybody who's actually played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 won't be swayed by me spoiling the game. They probably already played it by now, but I think that whoever played the role of Graves in this game did a really cool job of being the villain in this. A really stoic attitude to him. He thinks that what he's doing is right, even though what he's doing is obviously wrong. And you've got Captain Price on the other hand, who's a British SAS soldier who's trying to kind of right the wrongs of sort of the past in terms of what Graves is doing, while also trying to keep him in line so that way he can stop this threat that's going to unfold if he doesn't stop him. And I think that Call of Duty always had a really cool cinematic style to it, where they're borrowing from other movies and video games and stuff like that, and implementing that into the single player campaign. If you like the campaign controls for Call of Duty, then you're probably going to enjoy the Halo franchise, which I'll probably end up doing an in-depth review of that on my channel at some point in time in the not so distant future, just because I played all the Halo games and I really do like the Halo franchise itself. And basically Call of Duty took what worked in terms of the gameplay mechanics of the Halo franchise and put it into the single player campaign of Call of Duty. And I think that's one of the things that I really do like about Call of Duty, is that it feels a lot like Halo. The gameplay mechanics are smooth, kind of like Halo is. The one thing I really don't like of the Modern Warfare 2 is once you get to the prison break mission, mission, which that mission really stumped me for a while, which is one of the reasons why I didn't really beat it right away. And you kind of get into this area, and there's a bunch of armored dudes that show up, and you can shoot either their heads or you have a Molotov cocktail at them, which you can kind of find scattered around the map. That really stumped me to the point where I was kind of frustrated. I kind of rage quitted this game, and then I kind of came back to it later and replayed it, and I finally beat it. But I really hate the sneaking missions in this. I really do think that if they took out the sneaking missions of this game, the storyline would be a lot better, especially with the single player franchise that it's supposed to be. You know, it's supposed to be an action adventure Modern Warfare franchise, not supposed to be something that where you do a lot of stealth. Even they kind of implemented that later in the reboots, but no, I really don't like the tank level. I think that the fact that kind of Graves hides that kind of shoot at you and he sends his armored dudes at you is really annoying. And I'm gonna show some gameplay footage of me playing that game, but I died so many times trying to beat that stupid ass tank with the C4, which is basically copying Uncharted 4, where you kind of have to go around, take the APC out of an RPG or a C4 explosive, implementing some stuff that worked in Uncharted and trying to put it into an FPS game, and it just doesn't work. I think if sort of they kind of took those things out, if they kind of chopped down sort of the Farah missions, which are annoying, then it would be a lot smoother of a campaign. Understand, put her character in because she's supposed to be a badass soldier, been wronged in terms of the military that kind of hunted down her and her family in the past with the previous Modern Warfare franchise, but I just really don't like her character. I actually liked Alex's character more in the last game compared to Farah's mission, or whatever her name is in this game, just because of the fact that he was a little bit cooler of a character. He was kind of like John Krasinski's character in 13 Hours, and they actually replicated that to the Modern Warfare itself mission where you're trying to attack the embassy or whatever in the last game. But I kind of wish they brought him back. I know they couldn't do that because of the fact that he kind of went out in sort of the previous version, but his character is really cool, and I haven't touched the multiplayer side of it. I have seen other people's videos, like I said before, and the multiplayer, while it is the same as the other Call of Duty franchise, the one things that I really do like about the newer games in terms, the single player gameplay mechanics is that they have destructible environments, which they didn't really do in the past. In the past, you could like shoot through walls and stuff like that. You couldn't really like blow up code, move around somewhere at a battlefield, but they can't do that. Sort of these newer games, there's like limitations onto it. You can't really blow up everything like the Battlefield franchise. But in terms of the multiplayer aspect, I think that if you're a fan of the Call of Duty franchise, if you've been playing ever since the beginning, kind of like I have and many others, I played with a whole bunch of different groups of people in the past and really enjoyed that experience of playing older Call of Duties, you're gonna really love this game. But I just don't play the multiplayer side of it because I don't like the microtransactions. I don't really sweat fest that it's become. I don't really enjoy all the campers in it, even though I have camped in the past in sort of the levels that I don't really like. To do what you gotta do to win the games. I really do like Modern Warfare 2. I like the previous game in the franchise. I think it was a little bit more edgy and a little bit more realistic, which is kind of the reason why I play this game again. It's one of the reasons why I'm a huge fan of the Modern Warfare franchise, because it is realistic. It takes really tactics and sort of skills that you would normally see in real life situations and puts them on its head. And I think that's one of the things that you really need in terms of a Modern Warfare franchise, is to kind of have these realistic scenarios mixed in with the gameplay element that you kind of see with the Modern Warfare franchise. But let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of the Modern Warfare franchise as a whole, whether you like Modern Warfare the reboot and Modern Warfare 2, or if you like the older Call of Duty franchise. I really do like Modern Warfare 2's campaign, but I think up until the prison break sequence, that's when it gets kind of monotonous. It starts to get a little bit frustrating. They kind of implement all that stealth mechanic, which I don't really like in this franchise. And I kind of just wish it would go back to being a gun game or being a shooter like it kind of was, especially with multiplayer mechanics. And maybe I'll talk about that in a separate video, kind of how to fix Call of Duty and kind of fix the game mechanics that you see in the multiplayer. But up until that is basically my review of Modern Warfare. I really do like the voice actors here. The guy who plays Captain Price, who's like the newer face of Captain Price compared to the original character that he was in the very first Modern Warfare, really cool. I like Graves in this. He does a really good job playing villain that thinks he's hero doing good when he's actually doing a lot of evil. You also got a newcomer such as Alejandro. You've got Valeria, which I didn't really like Valeria as much as I probably would have, if she wasn't a more cliche written character in the games. You get this really interesting segment of the game where you kind of go through the drug cartels in Mexico and being interrogated at the beginning of the game. You have to give your information of who the team leader is, or the SAS or whatever. And I thought those missions were also annoying at first because you're not really sure what you're supposed to be doing. If you do one thing wrong, the game basically kills you and you reset. And I know a lot of people on Twitter were kind of obsessing with that character, but I thought her dialogue with the storytelling of the game was really cliched and kind of poorly written. But over time, towards the end of the game, I kind of understand what that character was basically fighting for and what her purpose was for being in the story. But there's just a lot of stuff that I like, but I also don't like. It's kind of like me in film. Like, there's stuff that I can see that I really do like about a piece of media such as Call of Duty, and then there's stuff that I don't really like about it. But if I had to give this a rating, I would probably give it about a B. It's not the A tier that the first Modern Warfare was. It's definitely not sort of the C tier that some of the other Call of Duties like Black Ops 3 and even Black Ops 4 have been in the past, because it kind of took out features that should have been in the game to begin with, like the single player. I really did like Modern Warfare 2. I like my experience kind of playing through this game. I really like the fact that they kind of updated the graphics. They kind of made these graphics look a little bit more realistic. I like the fact that they have a single player in this, and if Call of Duty ever gets to the point where they take out the single player aspect to it like they did before, and it becomes just a free-to-play multiplayer game, I probably won't play it anymore. But those are over my thoughts and opinions of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Hopefully you guys will like this review. I really don't try and give these games ratings anymore, just because of the fact that I kind of like to give you guys my thoughts and opinions over sort of the subject matter that we're discussing. And then if you guys want to go out and try and play it for yourself, you may or may not like this game, who knows. So those are my thoughts. Hopefully you guys will like this review, and as always guys, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the the next video. Peace out.
Órale, vaqueros, pongan atención. All right, listen. We are taking back your HQ. You're getting our prisoner. We are killing Commander Graves.
When?
Now. This is a fight against our own. We are not 1-4-1 and Los Vaqueros on this. We're a team. Ghost team. Good to see you again, Simon. If you're in, take a mask. If you're not, don't.